Yo guys, what's going on? Savage here. Today we're going to dive into episode 3 of our new series, Oversimplified, where I break down a recent match and go over play-by-play of why I do what I do. I've received a lot of positive feedback that these videos are actually helping people, which makes me extremely happy. If you guys have any ideas for an upcoming video you would like to see, please leave them in the comment section below. Also, if you're new, do not forget to smash the subscribe button and leave a like on the video as well. As you can see, we're landing firing range. We usually don't go here. It's pretty dead. It really hasn't been popping since the beginning of the game. Most people kind of tend to go away from the plane now. So if you're looking for high kill games, this is usually not the place to go. You're better off going hijacked, fracking tower, factory. Rivertown's my favorite, but for some reason people just kind of abandon fire range. Anyway, we do hear another team. We're not sure exactly where they are. As you can see here, I'm playing it real slow, kind of listening for sounds. My headset's on full blast. I hear him somewhere to the east of 116. Two targets are separated. Each of them starts to head one way while I push the other and make my direction towards the footsteps that I hear. Most situations, people will just go full on balls to the wall and push the target. I want to be aggressive, but at the same time, I don't want to alert them that I am on my way. So I go crouch, I make my way to them slowly and patiently, and they just run right at me. I say this all the time, but it's very important to have a decent headset if you're going to get serious into BRs. You don't want your teammates just screaming and keeping the radio chatter up at full max so you can barely hear the game. That's probably what these kids are doing. They're probably out just having fun, not really worrying about anything, talking, bullshitting with each other, and next thing you know, I sneak up on them and kill them. If they would have been quiet and had a decent headset, they would have heard my footsteps from a mile away. They probably actually would have stood a chance and at least shot at me. First and foremost, sound is God. That's why the awareness perk is kind of aids. I never recommend using that. I would rather dead silence. I'd rather mute my own footsteps than boost everybody else's. You need to know exactly where targets are. You don't want to hinder yourself by using the awareness perk. I want to throw that in there. As you can see right here, I'm looking around trying to spot a target. I do have a feeling there's one close by. I don't see him right off the bat, but I keep scanning. All of a sudden I spot him to 339. I call it out to my teammate. You see, too many times people go for the kill by themselves before they call it out, just so they can get that extra kill on the scoreboard and come out with the most kills, and I have my KD is this, my KD is that. The objective of BR is to win the match. If you have 20 kills and you get number 3, you lost. If you have 2 kills and you get number 1, you won. Luckily right here, I call it out. I was able to nail him by myself anyway, but just in case I was not able to land my shots, it's nice to have that teammate back you up. Now, the new meta is to drive around until someone shoots at you, hop out, and fight them. That's usually how you get your high kill games. However, these guys were doing that tactic. However, they did not follow through. As soon as we gave them a little bit of taste of what they wanted, they dipped out. They realized quickly they did not want that. Me and my teammate jump into another vehicle and hawk them down. We were out for blood. They were there. We saw them. We shot at them. If we waste our bullets, we're going to fight you. Whether we win or lose, we're going all in. There's a team right here. We're passing up. We're not even worried about them. They start shooting at us. Easem returns fire, but I maintain pursuit. I am hawked in on these guys, locked in, thirsty for blood. This is actually a really bad idea on my part. They could have thrown a trip mine, they could have thrown a nade. It would have been a perfect placement because of the tight squeeze that I had to go in. We would have been screwed. I'm not really sure what these guys' plans are. They're not throwing any throwables. I don't know if they were just underlooted or just unknowledgeable, but they didn't really have much map awareness. Instead of taking the bridge, they just dove it into the water. I go to run one over. I hit their truck, which actually runs them over. Unfortunately, I did not get the kill for that, even though I caused it. I'm pretty salty about this. I'm not going to lie. But they wanted to fight. We gave it to them. If you see people, push them, fight. People want to know how to get better all the time. The only way to get better is to practice. It's a BR. Fight. Please fight. I like to play really aggressive. I like to push everybody. I'm always scanning. I'm always moving. It's very rare in my live streams you're going to see me sitting still for more than a couple seconds unless I'm looting. That's the only time. At this point in the game, I do hear shots to the 335 north area. I'm scanning for the targets. I don't know how many teams I'm about to run into. I happen to spot 2 targets to the north. I'm pretty efficient with the ABR, but this guy was just as good. He actually brings me down to 48 health, and I'm ballsy. I know that I hit him 3 times, and one more hit would do it, so I peaked with 48 health and got the last shot off on him to doubt him. Once a target goes down, you need to push. Whether it's squads or duos, you now outnumber the enemy. You need to take advantage of a player being down and another player being distracted with the res. Also, I want to point out the fact that I'm not just pushing straight towards the rock. I actually go a little bit to the right. I want to use the trees that are between us as cover. I want to separate my visual connection with him with the 2 trees and the little rock that I have in front of me. That way, if he does happen to peek, all he sees is trees instead of a player running out in the middle of an open field. You also see I utilize the grapple to get closer to him. The guy that I downed initially did get res. I had to re-down him. At that point, I was irritated. I wanted to go ahead and end this fight. So I grappled my way to him to get closer to him before he can get the res off to finish the fight. You don't want to just keep picking each other back and forth and wait for other teams to collapse on you. You want to fight fast and get out of there. Too many times, teammates of mine or people that I spectate, I see them, they'll get a pick, they'll down somebody, and instead of going in for the last guy, they'll just maintain their position and wait for him to peek again. Then they get in a standoff battle of running out of ammo, running out of meds, and they're just downing each other back and forth. You want to kill him fast so he still has meds for you to loot. You don't want him to waste all his loot, smoke grenades, sensor darts, trophy systems, and whatnot. You want to kill him and get his shit. Get in, get out, be efficient. Don't just waste your time. Don't be too afraid to push, especially if you outnumber the team. Right here, we're using the vehicle to try to attract attention to us. It does work. We do happen to spot a team. Easem starts taking shots at the guy as he just watches us drive by. Instead of stopping right on him, jumping off the bike and getting a fight, the smarter approach is to pull a little bit away from the enemy, get yourself some distance. That way you can efficiently get off, get different angles, get different flanks, and go in on the enemy. That's exactly what we do here. Too many times we spot somebody on a vehicle, we start shooting at them, they just stop dead in their tracks, jump off, and try to fight us. You don't want to do that for many reasons. One, they already have the drop on you, so you have to jump off the bike, turn, get your bearings, and start firing at the guy. You're probably already damaged. He's got you dead to rights. You don't want to do that. Also, another reason, grenades. Grenades are everyone's best friend. The meta of driving around and being OP is no longer a thing. Many people have caught on to the fact, just whip out a grenade, go to the vehicle, instant double, triple, quad kill, no matter what the case may be. Right here, if we would have pulled up on him, this guy does have grenades, or he did have grenades before I looted him. If I would have pulled up to him, he probably would have stuck me with the grenade and the fight would have been over before it started. Of course, Battle Royale does require a little bit of aim, but at the same time, it requires more strategy. You got to think while you're in the middle of a fight or before you're about to engage in one. Don't just go balls to the wall and shut your brain down. Think, utilize your brain to win a fight and outsmart the other player. It's like a game of chess. You want to outplay the enemy team. While I'm engaging this player, I do hear an ATV somewhere to my east. I instantly start looking for it. I believe he goes to the gas station. I shoot a sensor dart. I don't see anybody instantly. However, soon enough, people do pop up a sensor dart, and I instantly want to make my way to him. Now, the blue did hit me. Most people will just play the edge of the blue. They'll sit behind the tree, med up. They'll try to keep their distance, try to get some shots off long range. But me, I'm an up close and personal kind of a guy. I'm gonna push the compound. As I'm pushing, I do hear them fighting another team, so I want to take full advantage of that. Get on the roof if I can. I'll get some shots on them. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work out to my favor. I go to vault on the other roof, somehow hit an invisible wall, fell straight down. These two guys right here, I'm engaging. One had level 3 armor. Another one just driving around the ATV. This is a common occurrence. People just driving around ATVs instead of using their guns. Sometimes they'll get lucky and splat people. I'm usually a victim to that. It's real frustrating, but it does happen. If you're one of those guys, using ATV is not a bad idea, but guys, if you're coming up on a fight, especially two teams fighting each other, don't just sit there trying to run them over. You're gonna get killed. This guy got stuck and I was able to get the easy kill. Now, one way to improve is to always try to pick a fight. You want to use the map, you want to use your audio, you want to use your surroundings and your senses to try to identify where the enemies are at. It's not a bad thing to get shot at, just make sure you don't get killed. Hiding from the enemy is never a good idea because you're just putting yourself at a disadvantage. You run the risk of people walking up behind you like I do on this kid right here. He's just laying down prone. There are no shots being fired. He's just terrified, laying in a bush. I'm used to bush woogies, doesn't really work for me. I definitely don't recommend it for you guys as well. Another simple tip that you probably already know, but I'm gonna revisit. Don't pick a fight with an enemy if you don't want to fight them. As you see right here, this guy shoots at us after he sees us get a kill, and he instantly hightails and dips out when he sees us chasing him. I never recommend running from a fight. Reposition and get a better position, but don't just completely dip out. Not only are you turning your back to the enemy, but you're also not putting any shots on them either. The number one question I get asked during a live stream is Savage. I always get top 5, but I can never get that victory. I've yet to win a game. How can I improve? First thing to look for, high ground. You want to try to maintain high ground. If there's a team already up there and you can't push them safely, don't worry about the high ground. Go to the next best thing. But right now, you want the high ground. The high ground is always the best spot to be. You can look down and around you. You can kind of get an angle over ridges and rocks that people may be hiding behind. You can kind of see if anybody's laying in a bush or laying prone in the grass or hiding behind a tree. It's the best place to be, in my opinion. Also, you want to play the edge of the circle. I like to move in to the edge of the white circle. I don't usually want to have my back to the blue circle just in case I start getting shot at. At the end of the game, the blue is going to tick really hard. It's going to damage you hard. The last thing you want is to have your back to the blue, get in a fight, and now you have to fight the blue hitting you and the enemy at the same time. I like to move my way up into the white circle, make sure no one's around me before I get into another fight. Also, if there's a compound inside the circle, you can usually bet that there's a team or a player near or inside that building. You want to kind of maintain your distance. You don't want to push a building at the end of the game, mostly because there's usually another player stalking it as well, and you can get caught in the crossfire as you're pushing the enemy player. Pushing a compound at the end of a match is an easy way to get yourself pinched and killed instantly. As you can see right here, we're actually engaging from the distance. We do spot them. I'm not saying avoid the fight. I'm just saying don't push the building itself, because there could be another player nearby stalking as well. On a side note here, I actually do push the compound, but I throw a sensor dart out to the right side of it to make sure no one's close enough to actually stalk me and pinch me. Utilize your equipment. I had a sensor dart, I threw it. I have a grapple hook. I grapple the roof. I look down the enemies. Like I said earlier, it's easier to shoot down than it is to shoot up. I got the high ground on them. They don't stand a single chance. We come out with the win. Now this right here still boggles my mind. I see it happen a lot and I never understand it. I always recommend fight somebody if you see them. These last two players are both solo. As you can see in the kill feed, Easlam gets a kill on one of them, and then I'm scanning looking for the other player, and right behind him, behind the tree, literally 5 feet behind that player, is the other guy, is the last enemy. And instead of them engaging each other for whatever reason, I don't know if they just weren't aware of their surroundings or whatnot, but regardless, we end up killing both of them. One more thing I would like to add is utilize concussions for sure, especially in a 1v2 situation. However, this guy right here used it at the improper time. Me and Easlam are both separated. We're nowhere near each other. I go in for a wide right flank. My teammate goes in for the wide left flank. And instead of him shooting at us, trying to pick us one at a time, he concusses me as we get the kill. One, he exposes his body to throw a concussion without putting pressure on me, without shooting me, which causes flinch. He just peeks to throw a concussion. It's not a bad idea if the enemies are close together, but if it's just one of them, there's no need for it. It's not going to save you. At least try to shoot, try to fight. There's a time and a place for concussions. That was definitely not one of them. Guys, if this helped you at all, make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, and also comment in the comment sections below. Let me know how this helped you. Also, feel free to join us on our live streams here on YouTube every night at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. I read and respond to each and every comment, so come join us. Anyway, guys, good luck out there and get some dubs.